Hello, I am Kelly Kennedy, and I wanted to talk to you today about why immersion works. Immersion, whatever the word is, immerse yourself in an experience of life. So I have been around the block a few times. I'm almost 50. I had dealt with chronic illness early in my life and chronic pain from a car accident. And I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to help the world not feel the devastating effects of what cancer had done in the family that I come from. And I personally didn't want to deal with cancer. So I figured I'd get really healthy and I would figure that out. And in the very early years of my college education and my undergrad degree at Cornell, I was in a horrible car accident. And that left me on this path of trying to scrap and figure some things out. And I think so many of you have probably felt like that you are kind of in control of your own healthcare. And this was back in the 90s. I didn't have the internet like we have today to educate myself. So I spent a lot of money and a lot of time going from doctor to doctor, going through my whole list of symptoms all over again, filling out the healthcare forms, telling the story again, to honestly just get the same piece of advice. Let me take a picture of it. Let me give you a script. Let me take a picture of it. Let me give you a script. Whether that was an MRI or an ultrasound or a CAT scan, they just kept taking pictures and sending me with more different medication, trying to manage my existing symptoms. Nobody wanted to look at the root cause. So again, the car accident was obviously the root cause of some of the pain, but it was more than that, because really it just reinforced some old issues that physically that I've been dealing with my whole life. A posture issue from being tall at an early age that now I was even more self-conscious of my posture because I couldn't stand up straight. Funny how that works. I was also more conscious of my appearance because I now had to shave my head because of the scar in my head and how the hospital had shaved me in a big horseshoe of the shape and size of the scar. So I shaved my head and I was already feeling pretty asexual, if you will. And so shaving my head off wasn't really the most ideal. And it made me face a lot of stuff. And now people could see my scar and then people asked about it and all the things. And I was pretty miserable. I was pretty miserable and in pain rather, and on a bunch of meds. And just like every day was, can I get through today? Can I get through 10 hours today? What time can I go home and sit in the chair, which was a massage chair that I could sit in face forward so it would take all the pressure off my back? How many witch doctors? I mean, I'm saying that here, feeling like a witch doctor in so many ways at times, but how many people am I going to go to? I mean, this was in the 90s. I was in Ithaca, New York, and I went to hypnotherapists and I went to Reiki specialists and I went to neurologists and I did everything everybody tried. I was very compliant and very desperate, and everything I tried, it would work maybe for a moment. I would get a little relief of pain. Like the first time I ever had a full body massage and somebody actually touched me therapeutically, there was a little alleviation for a short amount of time of some of the intensity of the pain. Same with Reiki. I had a hypnotherapist tell me to eat frozen peas and raisins across campus. I did it for about 3 months before I gave up and said, this is making no effect whatsoever. So I was that person that we've all been, if you've dealt with any kind of journey in wellness, that I was compliant and willing to do anything, but I had done all the things and nothing was changing. And I did not know then what I know now. And I know that if I had done all the things that so many of you are doing now, the coffee enemas and the castor oil packs and the red light therapies and the IVs and all the things we have access to that I have and continue to do to optimize me. But it wasn't changing the needle, and it doesn't change the needle for so many clients. And I've worked with people in this industry that are biohacking experts, which I'm going to change the name of that to bio-loving, because we don't need to hack a system. That means gaining control over a system with unauthorized use. I would like to engage with our immune system, with our enhanced innate intelligence, with the ability of our bodies to heal, which is the higher sense of our higher self, which is really controlling all of it. I want to engage it. I don't want to overpower it, and I don't want to hack it. I want to love it and I want to support it. So I'm calling it biosupport, actually. Let's call it biosupport instead of biolove. I want to biosupport your body. I want to help you biosupport your body. And yet, that said, so many times it doesn't change the needle. So I want to tell you 3 things that I have found that truly change the needle. The number one thing that truly changes the needle is, are you truly handling your scars? There are 2 interference fields, and those are the top 2 things we're going to talk about. The first interference field is scars. Scars on the physical body. It does not matter their age. It does not matter their size. What does matter is the influence they have on the body, because they are affecting the fascia. So regardless of where the scar is, it is creating a detour of information, and that scar should be remediated, both with physical touch, with vibration. And I would also highly recommend you seek out a medical professional, either a PA, an NP, or a DR, a doctor of physician's assistant, or a nurse practitioner, or a naturopathic doctor in the 7 states that are licensed to be able to do this, and have them administer what's called scar neural therapy, which takes a local anesthetic, procaine, which has copious benefits to the biome, to the biology of the system. It also works as a great local anesthetic. And it is we're just going to lace the scar. They, not we, they will be lacing the scar. And they'll, just like my scars on my head. So they take the needle and they just lace the scar. And what that does is it breaks up the adhesion. It breaks up the fascia, just like a vibration tool will, just like manual manipulation. And that scar must be treated. Here's the key, not just once, many, many times. The second thing that truly influences that scar is the trauma around it. So I was scalped in a car accident. There was a fair amount of trauma on that, right? And there was a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of trauma. So when I release that scar, the trauma comes with it. And so that allows me to no longer burden my body with a trauma that's trapped in that scar. The other thing that working the scar and the trauma will do is, if the scar is because I spoke to a gentleman once who had quite a few knife wounds and gunshot wounds, and he is, in our armed forces. And for him, these were all scars that he took as badges of honor. That is a very different trauma response than somebody that maybe has a gun wound or a knife wound from being at the wrong place at the wrong time, that wasn't taking the awareness and, truly choosing to be in that position in time with consciousness. So the trauma around the scar matters. The location, it will matter. If it's more in the midline, it will make a bigger impact, just because of the meridian system and the governing and conception vessel, and where they flow in the middle of the body. And so you're interrupting that meridian system, the communication system of the body, in the electrical pathways of the fascia when you have scars. So number one, have you treated your scars, and have you treated them more than once? I have treated the scar in my head, I'm going to say 50 times, in all sorts of ways, with a needle 20, and another 20, all sorts of ways, absolutely more than that. Another 80 in all sorts of other ways, mostly in the fascia, cranial sacral fascia, cranial sacral work, lymphatic work, but really working that scar tissue. The second interference field, because scars will interfere the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, the innate intelligence of the body, from doing what it needs to do to heal the body. The second influence is dental. So have you truly addressed all the things that could be happening in the dental field? There are amalgam fillings, which are misnomered as silver fillings. Do you have amalgam fillings? If you do, please do it only with the bioregulatory dentist that is properly trained, and that you've spoken to either them or some of their clients, and you know what kind of great results they get and what kind of extremes they go to protect you and them when they're drilling those neurotoxic, poisonous fillings out of your teeth and out of your nervous system. And there's some rules that they must adhere to follow proper protocol. So let's make sure they're beyond just a smart dentist, that they truly, and stands for safe mercury amalgam removal therapy or something like that. But make sure they're beyond just smart. Like, is this truly their way, or is this just something they threw a sign out and said, yeah, I'm that, so they could absorb more income? Or is this truly what they do and how they live their life? So are there any silver amalgam fillings? Number two, do you have any root canals? I'm not asking you to get your root canals pulled today, but just know from this point forward, please don't get root canals, and learn way more about that. There's a ton of books out there about that. There's a documentary called Heal about that. There's so much to be said about that. If you don't know more about it, there's information on my podcast as well. In the first like 8 episodes, we go over that in at least 2 or 3 of those episodes. So please watch for that. Number 3 is cavitations and cavities. Cavities are holes in the teeth. Cavitations are holes in the bone. Holes in the bone usually occur when we have a tooth pulled. Often the wisdom teeth is all that we have pulled. But if we've had other teeth pulled, there is a potential that the bone in the jaw never grew back. If the bone never grew back, that's a hole that now the body can hide stuff in there. Pathogens, toxicants, mold, all sorts of stuff. So we got to assure for our health and wellness, checking things off the box, that we do a cone beam x-ray, which is the gold standard now in dentistry. And that assures that any teeth that are pulled, we have beautiful bone growing and no cavitational sites, which are active infections. And we have no holes, which are cavitations. And we also want to make sure we don't have any metal bars that are crossing midline or any metal in the body in general. So if we have titanium implants, dental implants, we may look to eventually have those replaced and do zirconium, which seems more biocompatible. We also want to look for, do we have any capped teeth that might have porcelain on the top, but it's fused to metal underneath? Or have we had white silver or our silver fillings, amalgam fillings replaced with the white composite? But is that white composite truly biocompatible? Is it VOCO, which is the most common of all the composites used in the bioregulatory world? Or is it plastic that is now seeping another toxicant and burden into my body? I know I'm a happy person, but I have some bad news sometimes. So 2 things that are influencing my body. My scars are blocking and interfering my nervous system from healing, and dental foci or dental blockades they're blocking my nervous system from healing. I must handle these. If I'm trying all the things and these 2 things haven't been addressed, that's why I'm stuck. That's why I haven't pushed the needle, because my nervous system isn't engaged. If I know, and I've proven it with heart rate variability, that's what Kelly Kennedy's goal would be, is that you prove that your body works with regulation. While the Oura rings are great, I really prefer a clinically based professional level heart rate variability. There's MathQuest, Nerve Express, Sound of Soul, just to name the top 3 off the top of my head. You can really test your heart rate variability and quantitatively and see how healthy you really are. And when you do that, you're also assuring your body's not blocked or switched and that your body's regulating. Now I know the nervous system. Now, how can I increase the flow? Fascia, lymph, oxygen, water, energy, right? We went through that. We're going to continue to educate and dispense more and more content in and around the flow formula, in around fascia and lymph and oxygen and water. But today is about scars and the interference fields. And the 3 things, primarily scars and dental foci, that people aren't paying attention to, that really shifts the needle. The other thing that shifts the needle. So if your needle isn't switched, you're doing all the right things and you've done all the protocols and you don't want to go to another practitioner and you don't want to be on another protocol and you don't want to go through your history again, look at the scars, look at the dental foci. And the third is immersion. Immersion therapy is what works. Coming into a center and having an hour appointment here and there, we're not making big shifts across the needle. We are immersed every single day with bad thoughts that we are all programmed to have, that we aren't good enough, because unfortunately that's what the society has told us, and we have to overcome. So many of us have to overcome that. We are surrounded by Wi-Fi radiation every single part of our day, and some of us with 3 screens at a time. We are not outside nearly enough, so we are getting an under fake light consistently, which is like laser beams piercing holes in our own magnetic field and our biofield. We are eating food that we are trying to eat organic, and we are stressed over it. If you're like me, I do everything I can to order the organic meats and to sign up for the CSAs and all the things. And still, I feel like a hunter and gatherer oftentimes as I travel around this world trying to find high quality food and high quality water. So I'm immersed in bad water, I have to really pay attention to make sure the water I shower in, the water I'm drinking, the water I'm cooking with, the water that is being used to make my food is all of its purest and highest form. Then I've got to think about all the other things that happen in 21st century living. Like, okay, can I pay my rent this month or my mortgage? And am I taking care of my parents how I need to, or the dependents that I have in my life? Am I supporting those dependents in every way that I can financially? And am I taking care of myself financially? And do I have balance in my life? And we are immersed in 21st century living. And anymore, the sympathetic overcharge is life. It's not, is the saber-toothed tiger walking in the cave. It's more all the things we just talked about. And so immersion therapy, whether it's a 2.5-day retreat that I often do with my good friend, Christine Schaffner, everyone's sold out. There's a reason for that, because people want that immersive experience. We have clients that come here from long distances to True Wellness in Pennsylvania, and they spend 4 days or 8 days at the center, really immersing themselves in this care. And the reason that we made that available now as well to the local community and do more of these plans is immersion therapy is what I'm aware of, is that yes, we get unstuck because we use the things that shift the needle, be it the dental foci, the scars, or we're now finally addressing the fascia and the lymph, the majority of the train in the body. And we're truly unsticking the body. But now we have to continue to move that flow forward because we've been immersed in sickness and sympathetic overcharge. And now we need to immerse ourselves in parasympathetic to really entrain the body to live in that parasympathetic state, even amongst the toxic sympathetic soup that we all live in 21st century Western culture. So immersion therapy really works, and that's why. So if you're not getting the results you want, if you're not shifting the needle, try to handle your world by dealing with immersion. Do I need to immerse myself at somebody's center? Do I need to handle my scars, or am I not handling my dentistry? Those are my 3 things that I want you to really investigate, because we all are medical intuitives, biological investigators. I coin you all maybes with me. Now, let's hone in that intuition a bit more and investigate a bit more, because we got this and your team is right here. Let us know how we can support and guide you. And I'll see you soon.